Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Ruggiero, Vice President of Communications for Quilts Incorporated. And today I'm with Luana Rubin, who is the founder and co-owner of eQuilter.com as part of our Judge Show sponsor video. So welcome, Luana.
Hey Bob, it's great to see you
All
again.
right. So Luana Rubin and eQuilter.com sponsored the $5,000 eQuilter.com Master Award for Machine Artistry at this year's Judge Show, and it was won by Janet Stone for her quilt Butterflies, Bees, and Alphabet Trees. And we'll have a separate video with Janet later on. So, Luana, first of all, tell me what made you want to decide to continue sponsoring this Master Award?
Oh gosh. Well, for me, this is just the top show in the world and the top opportunity for artists to really show off their stuff. I love seeing artists who come in from all over the world and they bring their best work. And it's just an absolute pleasure to come and participate. For us to support that is an honor and, as I said, a true pleasure.
That's right. And so I know you were at the show this year and you were all over the show floor. So how did you feel about the show as its entirety?
Mm. I felt like there was a lot of pent-up creative energy that was released, even more so than last year. The people who attended were really high energy and enthusiastic. Many of the artists came too, so it was a great opportunity for me to come and meet with my friends who are fellow artists, because I'm an artist as well. Um, yeah, and also the world has gotten a little bit grayer, but I saw a lot of color there. And, one thing that I pay attention to over the years is are we getting over our fear of color? In the past, quilters had a fear of color in general, or maybe they would be afraid of particular colors. And I see those colors being used in their work to great effect in a more artistic manner, as opposed to maybe the colors that their grandmother used. That's exciting for me because color is kind of my thing.
I know it isn't, and obviously you are a color expert and you've been on several boards with that. I'm sorry, I don't remember the specifics, but tell me a little bit about what kind of color trends you've seen this year.
Mm. You know, I'm really watching still. Color trends will bubble up for a year or two, and then they kind of peak, and there's a mass consciousness explosion and acceptance. And the color that I'm watching this year is kind of a yellow green, kind of the color of sprouts and ferns and buds, if you can imagine that. And that's a color, that's one of those colors that people were afraid of in the past, but I think we're all kind of yearning for that connection to nature and that fresh spring growth kind of energy to bring that into our lives. And it's actually become a cocooning color as well. I mean, people want to surround themselves. It's kind of like going into the forest, but if you live in the city, you may not have that opportunity. So I think it's become a comfort color.
That's very interesting to hear. So going back in our DeLorean time machine,
Yeah.
going back a little bit. So tell me a little bit about the origins of eQuilter.com and what your business is today.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be coming up on 26 years. It's unbelievable. Bob, we're all getting older, right? We
No,
started,
not at all. Not at
yeah,
all.
here's the Dorian Gray. Bob never gets older, but I'm getting older. We started in the basement of our house. We were in a couple warehouses and we finally built our own building and moved into it about 6 years ago. We got in just before the pandemic, which was like a giant relief that we were able to have a solid foundation before the whole world went crazy there for a while. Um, because of my background in the garment industry and the textile industry, and as you said, working with color, I just have this very deep love of fabric and color and art and design. And that's really been the foundation of our business because we really try to bring uh, products that our artists and quilter friends are looking for, and they may not be able to find it all in one place. That's the experience I had before I started the business. So we really focus on a very particular creative contemporary demographic that's not afraid of color. And when people need those kind of products, they know where to come.
And I've known you for many years, Luana. So, and I know part of eQuilter's mission is also to give back to the community. So, talk a little bit about what you give back in terms of funds throughout the year.
Sure. Well, we have raised over $2 million for charity over 25 years. Right now, we have a project going to collect and distribute quilts to those in Western North Carolina who've lost their homes. We're working with a Buddhist organization, actually, that's on the ground in Swannanoa. And we're encouraging quilters who want to help those folks to either drop off quilts to us in person or ship them directly to our person on the ground there, our organization actually. So that's kind of what's on the front burner at the moment. And we have guilds coming and dropping off bags of quilts every week. So that's exciting to see that coming together.
Wow, that's great. Now, I want to share a photo. Janet was not able to be at the show this year, but
Hmm.
you were there with her quilt. So,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about what you thought of the quilt and Janet's work in particular.
Oh gosh. Well, I've admired Janet's work for a long time, and to see her work in person is always an absolute delight. She has an exquisite sense of color, and her applique work is beautiful. And she just, she's got a designer's eye, and it really comes through in her work.
Well, she's certainly no stranger to the winner circle at the Judge Show, either with Quilt
Yeah.
Festival or the predecessor International Quilt Association.
Hmm.
What was the number one takeaway you had from this year's show?
Hmm. I'm very interested in quilts with a message. And I have been talking about that in lectures and, to groups for quite a long time. And I think that that idea has really expanded. And I see a lot of quilts. Well, of course, we had the Save the Planet exhibit, which is, a lot of textile artists expressing their feelings about what's going on in that topic and a lot of other topics as well. And I have to say that I really appreciate that Quilts Inc. and the Houston International Quilt Festival supports those kinds of exhibits because I think it's very important today for us to hear those voices and sometimes a quilt or a piece of art can say something that words could not express, or maybe we can get that idea through and get somebody to go home and think about it. So, that I know that I'm kind of biased there because that's something that I'm interested in, but I will say that I did see more of that this year. I think the younger quilters are interested in those kind of topics too. So, I appreciate that, Bob.
All right. All right. Well, I guess the last question I have is tell all of us a little bit about what the next year, what the future holds for equilter.com and also yourself.
Sure. Um, I don't know what next year brings for the company. We're just going to keep doing
Well,
what we do.
It's only a month and a half away,
Yeah,
Luana.
I
You
know. I wish
gotta get on the ball.
I had a plan. I mean, I think we're just going to keep chugging on and continuing to bring those specialty products for our more creative contemporary customers. But I'll tell you something I don't think you know, Bob. I'm having a solo exhibit at the Kyoto Quilt Festival March
Oh,
1st.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. Personally, I've been trying to shift more into I should say, back into my career as an artist and designer. So, my husband, who is also my business partner, and we have an employee who's been with us for 18 years. I've handed a few more chunks of my job to them, and I'm spending more time in the studio. Um, but, I'm still sprinkling magic fairy dust behind the scenes and making sure the company continues to move forward in the same direction.
I'm surprised I don't see, wings forming against the background there against you. So
That's true. Well, for a long time, my nickname has been E-Quilt Fairy.
that is true. That
So
is
that's
true.
that's where that comes from.
Well, great. Well, Luana, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Again, Luana Rubin from equilter.com. She sponsored the Master Award for Machine Artistry at this year's Festival Judge Show. And we certainly thank you for your sponsorship and wish you best of luck with whatever you've got going next year.
Okay, I'll be out there sprinkling fairy dust. Thank you, Bob.